Okay, Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah and welcome to the orientation session of one of our exclusive programs जो कि अब हम लॉन्च करने वाले, दैट इज एडवांस बायोलॉजी. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, जैसे कि मैंने हर बार कहा है, इस बार उसी चीज़ को मैं रिपीट करना चाहता हूँ दैट द विजन ऑफ सीरा एंड स्टेम एकेडमिया is pretty simple. It's about giving the students, the Muslim Ummah, advanced set of knowledge in respective fields और साथ साथ में लीडरशिप मॉडल्स, ताकि वो अपने अपने फील्ड्स में इंशाल्लाह वो मकाम हासिल कर सके या उस नहज पे चल सके जहाँ पर वो फिर आगे जाके इंशाल्लाह उस फील्ड को लीड कर सके. बिकॉज दैट इज द जॉब ऑफ एवरी मुस्लिम, कि इंटेलेक्चुअली वो इस हद तक स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए कि कम से कम जिस चीज़ के लिए उसको भेजा गया है इमामत, उसका उसको कंसेप्ट क्लियर होना चाहिए. राइट. नंदलेस एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज़ है जो कि मैं इस कोर्स के बारे में आप सबके साथ शेयर करना चाहता हूँ, वो ये है कि अल्लाह ताला ने सूरह अनफाल में वर्स 53 में बड़ी खूबसूरती के साथ कहते हैं कि मैं तुम्हें निशानियां दिखाऊंगा आसमानों में और तुम्हारे अंदर, ताकि तुम्हें ये आया हो जाए कि ये जो किताब हमने भेजी है ये हक है. अब आसमानों की तो बात ऑब्वियसली आपके साथ फिजिक्स में हो जाएगी या बाकी सारे कोर्सेज में हो जाएगी, बट यहाँ पर जिस चीज के को हम छेड़ना चाहते हैं इस आयत के थ्रू, दैट इज द बायोलॉजी. जब तक कि हमें इस लेवल पे समझना आ जाए ना कि अल्लाह ताला ने लिटरली फोर्स किया है हमें कुरान में, लिटरली फोर्स किया कुरान में हमें कि हम जो है ना अपने अंदर के मामलात को समझे, अपनी बायोलॉजी को समझे, इसके मेकअप को, इसके डिजाइन को, इसके मामलात को समझे, तब तक हमें इस सब्जेक्ट की जो है ना वो ग्रेविटी समझ नहीं आ सकती है. ये इतना खूबसूरत सब्जेक्ट है ना कि इंसान जब से मुझे लगता है उसकी तख्लीक हुई है तब से उसने कोशिश की है इस चीज को अंदर से पहचानने की. किसी ने अपने आप को जानने की कोशिश की है, किसी ने दूसरों को जानने की कोशिश की है, किसी ने बीमारियों को पहचानने की कोशिश की है, किसी ने उनकी दवाइयों को बनाने की कोशिश की है, किसी ने जानवरों को जानने की कोशिश की है, जानवरों और इंसानों को कौन सी चीज अलग करती है उसको समझने की कोशिश की है. और ये बिल्कुल एक नेचुरल सी इंक्लिनेशन है इंसान की, जहां पर वो इट्स सॉर्ट ऑफ कि वो इंक्लाइन हो जाता है टुवर्ड्स दिस ब्यूटीफुल एंड अमेजिंग सब्जेक्ट्स. और जब हम इस सब्जेक्ट को बड़े डिटेल से पढ़ते हैं, फिक्र इस पे करते हैं और इसको समझने की कोशिश करते हैं ना, तब जाकर हमें समझ आता है कि ये किस लेवल का डिजाइन, ये किस लेवल का मेकअप अल्लाह सुब्हानहू तआला ने यहाँ पर हमें प्रेजेंट किया है. एंड नॉट ओनली दिस, बल्कि अलग अलग सिविलाइजेशंस ने अलग अलग थ्योरीज प्रपाउंड करने की कोशिश की, अलग अलग एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करने की कोशिश की, और अपनी तरह से, अपने तजिए से, अपने तखयुल में किसी चीज को, किसी प्रूफ को एस्टेब्लिश करने की कोशिश की कि इस बायोलॉजी के थ्रू कि गॉड एग्जिस्ट करता है या नहीं कर सकता है. राइट. तो ये इतना बड़ा मामला है कि जब आपको ये अपने अंदर का मेकअप समझ आता है, अपने अंदर का डिजाइन समझ आता है, अपने अंदर की वुसअत, कैपेबिलिटीज और ये सिस्टम जिस तरह से भी अल्लाह ताला ने हमारे अंदर रखा है, इसको समझ आता है, तो तब जाकर you understand that all of this is designed very intricately and it's designed with a purpose. Right. मैं ज्यादा इसमें अभी डिटेल में जाना नहीं चाहता हूँ, बिकॉज योर कंसर्न टीचर विल डिटेल यू अबाउट ईच एंड एवरीथिंग एज इट्स हिज डिपार्टमेंट. बट नॉनदलेस मैं ये समझता हूँ कि एक एजुकेटेड मुसलमान जो कि लिख सकता है, पढ़ सकता है, वो बिना बायोलॉजी को समझे, बिना इसको, इस पे गौर फिक्र करके, बिना इस पे रिसर्च किए एट लीस्ट बेसिक लेवल की, वो अल्लाह ताला की आर्टिस्ट्री को नहीं जान सकता है, वो अपने अंदर के मामलात को नहीं समझ सकता है, वो उस हैयत को ही नहीं बिठा सकता अपने दिल में जिस हैयत के साथ उसको डिजाइन और उसको पैदा किया गया और जिस हैयत के थ्रू वो चलते रहते हैं. सो दैट्स हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट दिस इज. और इस कोर्स में इंशाल्लाह वी हैव ट्राइड आवर बेस्ट कि इसमें हम 2 साल में इंशाल्लाह, चाहे बच्चे हो या हमारे साथ एडल्ट्स हो, उनको बेसिक से लेके मोस्ट एडवांस लेवल तक उनको लेके जाए. जो नोबेल विनिंग बायोलॉजी है, जो नोबेल विनिंग रिसर्च है मेडिसिन के बारे में या किसी और चीज के बारे में रिलेटेड टू बायोलॉजी, उसको भी हम प्रेजेंट करें, उसको भी बच्चों में जो है ना वो हम आम कर दे. और जिस तरह से स्कैंडिनेवियन कंट्रीज कर रही है, फिनलैंड कर रही है या बाकी सारी कंट्रीज कर रही है, उस वो इनिशिएटिव्स हम भी ले सके. राइट. एंड इवेंचुअली अपने बच्चों को इंशाल्लाह रहमान, और मुसलमान बच्चों को खासकर, हम उन मकामों तक लेके जा सके जहां पर वो आगे जाके कुरान और अहदीस के लेंस के थ्रू इस फील्ड को इंशाल्लाह जो है ना वो लीड कर सके. बिकॉज एज यू गाइज नो राइट नाउ, जब भी एथीस्टिक सॉर्ट ऑफ कभी आपके पास आर्ग्यूमेंट्स आते हैं या इवन एग्नोस्टिक आर्ग्यूमेंट्स आते हैं, तो बायोलॉजी उसका एक कोर बनता है. राइट. बिना बायोलॉजी के वो आर्ग्यूमेंट्स इनकम्प्लीट रहते हैं और बिना बायोलॉजी को आंसर किए हुए आप उनको जो है ना मुतमईन भी नहीं कर सकते हो. सो दिस इज हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इट इज. तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि हमारे बच्चे इस फील्ड में आए, मेडिसिन सीखे, अपने अंदर के मामला देखे, दुनिया के जानवरों के जो है ना वो मामला देखे, उस फील्ड को लीड करें इंशाल्लाह रहमान, और एक उम्मत के लिए बड़े खैर का जो ना वो नतीजा सामने आ जाए इंशाल्लाह रहमान. So without taking further ado, let me introduce to you, जो कि आपके साथ इंशाल्लाह बायोलॉजी को सिखाएंगे, आपको बायोलॉजी को सिखाएंगे, समझाएंगे, आपके साथ रिसर्च खोलेंगे, आपको ट्रेन करेंगे, जिनका नाम है सर फैसल, सर सईद फैसल. ही इज करंटली अ रिसर्च स्कॉलर एट यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली, और इससे पहले उन्होंने मास्टर्स भी यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ दिल्ली में ही किया है. सो आई वुड लव टू इंट्रोड्यूस सर फैसल हियर, ताकि वो आपको इसके आउटलाइन और इसकी डिटेलिंग कर सके इंशाल्लाह. Yeah, Sir Faisal, please.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullah.
Okay, thank you so much, Gabit, for your introduction, and the way you put it was very, I would say, crisp and elaborate. That you summarized the reasons that why we should go through the biology course. So, if you would, make me host, I would like to share my screen.
Yes, sir. You're the host now.
Okay, thank you. Tell me if I am visible, if my screen is visible.
Zizi, it's visible, sir.
Yes. So, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all of you. As my brother Gabit, he introduced me and he talked about the fact that why we are here today. We will definitely try our best to, make it a very engaging session by understanding why biology is important in terms of being a good Muslim in today's world, and why we need to understand it. So, as he introduced me already, I won't go to that. But there is something very interesting right now on your screen. If it is visible, Gabit, is it visible?
Zizi, it's visible.
Yeah. You can see some of these fascinating creatures about which we have heard in our stories, about which we get fascinated always, about which we ask questions when we are children. So this is the fascination, and particularly when we talk about this one here, dinosaur. uh, this is a very terrible creature about which we hear a lot of things, and I would like to take this example to make a point here. So dinosaur, all right. Imagine you are going around the jungles of Africa, and you are stumbling upon a fossil that is huge, that has dagger shaped teeth, that is having a massive morphology, that is very, very terrifying. As you see that creature, you just want to learn about that, and that, as I mentioned, is dinosaur. You get fascinated, and your reaction is wow. And this is essentially the point where one goes to two destinations. For instance, if there are two people, one is getting fascinated because of the fact that dinosaur is huge. It is fascinating. तो इसका रीजन क्या हो सकता है कि ये fascinating है? Number one could be because it has some features. Features जैसे कि it's huge, its teeth are huge, its claws are huge, it is a size of a particular sort of a room, जैसे हमारे घर होते हैं उस टाइप के साइज का है. So this is a fascination. But इस fascination से हम दो destinations की तरफ जा सकते हैं. एक destination ये है कि ये nature है, and we are caught here, full stop. दूसरी destination ये है कि it's not just nature, it's beyond that. It's Allah. And those people who go to the first destination, कि डायनासोर का दुनिया में आना, उसके उतने खौफनाक, अमेजिंग, फैसिनेटिंग फीचर्स होना, it is just by a natural accident. That is, it's just because of nature. That's it. And here is where the atheistic worldview comes into play. But when we go to second worldview, यहाँ तक तो हम सेम ऊपर वाले वर्ल्ड व्यू के साथ चलते हैं, बट वी आर हियर bringing about, rather we have an external creator, and that is Allah. This is where STEM comes into play, this particular area. जब हम नेचर की बात करते हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर हम डायनासोर का, लेट्स टेक द टू सब डायनासोर, that
May
is,
I ask a question, sir?
yeah, surely.
Sorry to interrupt. So you asked this question about like why would we be so inspired by looking at these huge dinosaurs, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a very basic instinct. There's a very basic level of fear in every human. They dread anything that, I mean, if dinosaurs were here right now, right? Like, I mean, no human would be safe. So it's just a very basic survival instinct, right? Which leads us to want to learn about them, because what if we have to face that someday? I mean, it's just a simple question.
I couldn't get your question. Could you rephrase it, please?
Okay.
You are saying that it is a survival instinct. Okay, fine. Then?
So that's why it would be natural that humans would be, they would be interested in learning about such a creature and how it behaves and so on.
Yeah. That is what I'm saying, that it is these fascinations, जहां तक ये fascinations है ना, इनकी destination कहाँ पे है? Both the ways, whether it is a survival instinct or whether whatever other explanation you are giving here, यहाँ तक तो nature का explanation दोनों ही world views में आता है ना. It's not something that is parting of the ways between the two world views that I am talking about. यहाँ तक nature and nature go same. अब जो बात कर रहा हूं मैं कि जो हम नेचर के बियॉन्ड जाते हैं, द क्रिएटिव पावर, द क्रिएटिव फोर्स, द क्रिएटिव एनर्जी, व्हाटएवर नेम यू वांट टू गिव इट, इट इज अल्लाह. So nature fascination, it is same for both the world views. It's not that I am saying because we are fascinated therefore we have to believe in the creation of Allah. Are you getting me?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
नहीं, मैं एक बात इसमें ये भी जोड़ना चाहता था, फॉर एग्जांपल कि डायनासोर्स बहुत टाइम तक थे इस अर्थ पे और फिर वो सडनली डिसअपियर हो गए, एंड देयर आर मेनी थ्योरीज एज टू हाउ दैट हैपेंड. वी डोंट नो एग्जैक्टली, बट द पॉइंट इज कि उसके बाद ह्यूमंस आते हैं, एज फार एज वी अंडरस्टैंड. तो isn't that a thing in itself, is that कि हमारे आसपास कोई भी ऐसे प्रेडेटर्स नहीं है अभी जो हमें लाइक कभी भी कहीं भी लाइक दे कैन किल अस एंड वी कांट डू एनीथिंग अबाउट इट, राइट? ऐसा नहीं है. तो वो एक स्पेशली डिजाइन सिस्टम है इंसानों के लिए आसान बनाने के लिए जिंदगी इस प्लानट पे, राइट? तो या वो बाय चांस नहीं हो सकता.
Yes, that's what I was coming. तो ये dinosaurs का example, it is just to drive the point home. We can take any other example that fascinates us. Since it is mostly fascinating to children, that's why I picked this example up. Otherwise, these are extinct creatures, as we know. So there are two things here. One is that you reach up to nature and you give up, you become an atheist. And you go beyond it and you become a believer. But interestingly, if you explore the word here, atheism की बात जब हम करते हैं यहाँ पे, it's not because atheists are atheists in essence, they are polytheists. Why do I say that atheists are becoming polytheists? The reason is because they are attributing the creative power to matter itself. जो creative power है वो matter को confer करते हैं वो, और जो believers है they confer this creative power to Allah. So essentially, whether you call him a naturalist, जो भी आप term use करें, sorry, my pen is, there is something wrong with the screen sharing, so don't mind my handwriting. जो नेचुरलिस्ट होता है यहाँ पे, जो एथिस्ट की बात जब हम करते हैं तो ये नेचुरलिस्ट होता है. नेचुरलिस्ट वो होता है जो बोलता है कि एवरीथिंग हैपन्स by the existence of nature itself on its own. So essentially he gives the power of creation to nature. और जो believer है, he says no, it is external, that is creator, that is Allah. So whole point of this slide is that where should our fascination lead us to? Every time you get fascinated about anything around you, whether that's a flower, that is a bee, that is a bird, whatever it is, this fascination can have two destinations. First destination will be you will be fascinated and you will say it is all nature's creation. Nature is doing it on its own. Second destination will be you will go beyond that. You would say that it is not just nature, it is something more than that. And what are the reasons to say that? I don't want to make this a class of philosophy, but definitely I would like to say that there is a design in nature. And if we human beings see a general, elaborate design, it's our natural instinct that we attribute that to some conscious force. For instance, if you see a sort of, a structure which is very intricately carved out, which has been designed very peculiarly and very effectively chiseled around, you will definitely say that there is some conscious force that has brought this about. Similarly, when we see design in the living world, we definitely will infer something of a conscious force that gives it the design. But when we talk about nature or naturalistic explanation, तो वहां पे full stop nature पे होता है. And since the matter itself is blind, it cannot lead to a particular sort of design जो कि बहुत intricately carved out है. But that is not where I'm going right now, because we have to study then the critique of naturalism, how naturalism is a wrong worldview, and how we cannot believe in naturalism. I would like to repeat the whole point of this slide is that where should our fascination lead us to? All right. Then, okay. This was the first example, that where should our fascination lead us to? Other examples will come about them, but here in this slide, I will just briefly introduce the idea of biology. Biology is all about living world, where you can, talk right from a virus up to a huge, gigantic creature like a human being. A creature like a human being, you can talk about cell, which is the basic unit of life. You talk about bacterium, which can make us sick, which can have economical industrial benefits for us. We talk about the fish, we talk about so many other organisms in the coming slides. So this was the basis of the idea here is that SITEM has biology of belief idea. Because the alternate worldview, as we talked about two worldviews, is biology of disbelief. So when we talk about two types of biologies, in SITEM, we are going to learn about the biology of belief. Now, what do I mean by biology of belief? I would like to elaborate in the coming slides. The first thing I would like to mention is that how Quran in general piques the curiosity to study the whole universe and of course biology. You see, the Quranic verse here mentioned is from chapter 2, verse 164. I remember when I was a child, I was rather in class 8 or 9, I always tried to compare what I learned from science or geography or any other subject, and I always tried to compare it with Quran. And that drawing of comparison, ended up with a booklet rather, that was Quranic Invitation to Observation. And in that booklet, I tried to prove in my thoughts of those days that how Quran essentially frames the scientific mindset. how Quran carves out scientific mindset inside us. So for that, I would like to quote just one example from the Quran, which is known as Ayatul Ayat. This verse is known as Ayatul Ayat. Ayatul Ayat इसलिए इसे कहा जाता है क्योंकि इसमें ओवरऑल यूनिवर्स की ऑब्जर्वेशन पे जोर दिया गया है. And it mentions in the creation of the heavens and the earth. Creation of the heavens and the earth is generally taken by Mufassirin as universe. Alternation of day and night, that is the rotation and rotation of earth around its axis, creates night and day. And the ships that sail for the benefit of humanity, the rain sent down by Allah from the skies, reviving the earth after its death, the scattering of all kinds of creatures, the shifting of the winds and the clouds drifting between heavens and the earth. In all, there are signs for those people of understanding. This verse is a mega, rather a huge proclamation to observation of universe. Because if you divide this verse, if you break it down, you will understand that it, in a nutshell, mentions that we must observe whole universe, and then biological universe is no exploration, no exception to that. Now, see, when we talk about sea is a complete ecosystem in itself. Oceans have their own relief features. They have mountains. The ocean life is, a vast universe in itself. And if you have read about Jules Verne, who is a great English sci-fi novelist, French sci-fi novelist, who says that there is everything supernatural about seas. They are emotion, they are love, and they are the infinite living. That means the fascination within the sea is itself the sign of Allah's existence, that is in the darkness and the wilderness of ocean. A lot more remains unexplored. So then, reviving of the earth after its death, that is when it rains, you have all kinds of vegetations, and that can be taken to a study of botany. And then scattering of all kinds of creatures. Now the scattering means scattering in particular, it is about reproductive potential. There are 8.2 billion human beings on earth, approximately billion human beings on earth. And then those 8.2 human beings have 100 trillion bacteria in them, in their guts. And these are not harmful bacteria, these are friendly bacteria. And this is more than the number of stars in Milky Way. So this reproductive potential in itself, how human beings overtook the earth, and how there are some creatures inside us that are 100 trillion, and they are more in number than the Milky Way. It is in itself a fascination for the men of understanding. And then whole sort of material, these weather phenomenon, these are also the signs for those people who want to understand, who have understanding. And another verse is of the same, I won't elaborate it out. And then it's not just about the Quran passively tells us to think about these phenomenon, it actively asks us. If you read the Quran, it asks rhetorical questions, it stresses observation. It asks the questions that, have you ever observed the seed that you sow, the water that you drink, the fire that you kindle? It's in Suratul Waqia, verses are given already, where water can seem a simple molecule at the surface of it, but when we go to study it in deep, we are fascinated by the structure water has, the chemical properties water has, the universal solvent it is, and the fact that it's dry, electric, constant. It's amazing in itself. It's inside our blood. It's inside our cells. Life won't be possible without water. So in one way, when we see, for instance, a water picture of water here, it seems on the surface of it, we take it for granted. We drink water every day, but we take it for granted. We don't pay attention to these the common things around us. But interestingly, Quran wants us to understand these things, that uh, why you should wonder about them, what is special about them. For instance, when we have when we sow a seed, एक टाइम की फैसिनेशन, जब साइंस ज्यादा डेवलप नहीं हुई थी, उस टाइम की फैसिनेशन क्या होती कि सिर्फ जमीन में बीज बो के एक प्लांट को देखना, it would have been a fascination. But today's fascination will be studying the germination of seed, in scientific terms. So the idea of fascination is relative. Therefore, Quran gives us just a clue that this is a water, that this is the water that you drink, this is the seed that you sow, this is the fire that you kindle. Now it's up to you how deeper you take the observation of these simple and common things in our life. And these are so fascinating because the word is here, that have you ever observed. It's not just like that have you seen simply. No, Quran says have you observed, and observation can extend to as much as you want to. So this is second fact, that Quran in general emphasizes that we must ponder around about the world around us and see it in a deeper level. So essentially, for a student of Quran, the drive to observe the universe is not external. It's internal to Islamic and Quranic values. Now, on the lighter side of it, Quran has, coming to the biology now, Quran has named several chapters based on animals. For instance, Bakara, cow, Al-Anam, cattle, An-Nahl, bee, An-Naml, ant, Al-Ankabut, spider, Al-Insan, man, Al-Fil. So names of these animals, interestingly, these Nahl and Namal, these are social insects. Social insects means that they make societies like human beings. So this is just one sort of fascinating thing about Quran, that it has named several chapters based on animals. And there is one scholar from Kashmir, he has written a complete book on how these Quranic animals. Okay, so if there is any question up until this point, I would like to take those questions. If not, I will move ahead with my next slide. Is there any question? Okay, all right. So all of us might have got stung by a bee at a particular time in our lives, I presume. Or maybe
Yeah,
all of
बिल्कुल.
us had honey. We have had the sweetness of honey and the bitterness of sting. But today I'm going to tell you some of the important and different things about bees. Bees are the fascinating creatures of Allah. Allah says in Surah An-Nahl, chapter 16, verse 58-59, the verse is given here, translation. That is, your Lord has inspired the bees. And this is very, very fascinating when we think about it, when we ponder about it. Because usually हम सुनते हैं कि Allah has inspired the Prophet. Allah has inspired a particular wali, or saint of Allah who got a ilham about something. We hear about that. But this is very unusual when Allah says that Allah has inspired the bees. What does this mean? We will come to understand that make your homes in the mountains. The word home is highlighted for a reason, because we have two images here. First is of a beehive, that is the home of the bees, where bees reside. And second is, I would go here, that the trees in what people construct and feed from the flower of any fruit you please. So this is feeding of honeybee. Now I would like to elaborate these two terms one by one. Beehive is considered to be one of the most amazing mathematical geometrical constructions in the living world. Now, how do bees know how to construct a mathematical ingenuity? Allah has inspired the bees that they make homes in the mountains. This is very, very important. Why? Because all the species of bees throughout the world make a hexagon in their hives that has almost same angle, and believe me, they don't learn geometry, they don't learn any calculus to do this. They do this mathematical ingenuity by the fact that Allah has inspired them. Ab inspired kaise matlab? We know all of us have cells inside us. All the living creatures have cells, and those cells are like bricks in a building. जैसे building की bricks होती है, वैसे ही जो भी organisms हैं उनकी cells होती हैं. And inside those cells are different organelles or subcompartments जो कि different functions करते हैं. तो एक subcompartment जो cells में होता है, that is nucleus. And this nucleus harbors DNA. That is the genetic, genetic chemical that is residing inside, or biomolecule that resides inside the cell's nucleus. This DNA has a 4-letter code, that is AGTC. This can come in different combinations and lead to the production of different actions and different structures. For instance, the DNA can design, or rather the DNA can make color of your skin. It can make you tall. It can have effect on your height. It will affect your skin color, different things. So essentially all of the characters that we have, or any organism has, that is controlled by DNA that resides inside cell's nucleus. So what does inspiration mean? Inspiration here is understandable as something like a cryptic code that has been given to a bee so that it acts in a particular way. Because of course we don't know generally, as Quran does not say that Allah directly spoke to bee and Allah told that you do this and that. But the point here is that simply the inspiration is taken to genetic code.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
So on the inspiration of the bee, I have read somewhere that bees can communicate to each other. For example, if a bee goes and finds some food, then it will come back to the nest and it will move its tail in a particular way. There is literally a code there that you can actually decipher. And
Exactly.
using that, it tells where that food source is. It remains on the nest. Other bees go straight to the food source. So that also lines up exactly with the
exactly.
inspiration.
I'll come to that. Yeah. See, basically there was a scientist named Von Frisch, And this guy has spent almost 30 years of his life studying bees, particularly communication of bees. He got later Nobel Prize for that because he was able to decipher the communication that bees make to each other. Now, what's that communication? Let me just take it briefly. It is hive here, and there is, suppose, a box of sugar that has been kept here, and say a bee goes out and it is within the 90 meters range. The sugar box is in 90 meters range from the hive. The bee dances in a circular manner. That is a signal for its mates in the hive to tell them go and forage. There is a source of food that is waiting for you. You go and have your meals. That is one thing. Then there is another thing, that if the food source are sugar, anything, it can be anything, it does not necessarily sugar. If it is greater than 90 meters, away from the hive, bee dances in a typical 8 manner. That is known as vagal dance. Vagal dance is a signal that you have to go beyond 90 meters, and this won him Nobel Prize. And this is a breath taking discovery of animal ethology. Ethology means behavior, animal behavior. So yes, communication is very important when it comes to inspiration. We can take it that way also, but point is that why does it essentially remain? What tells a bee to make a circular dance is DNA. And one of the biologists calls this extended phenotype. But I won't go there right now because that is a sort of technical aspect of the subject. Extended phenotype. So essentially, bees have number one, hive, which is very intricately mathematically carved. And secondly, there is communication, as brother talked about. And then there is feeding. If bees stop pollinating, 80% of the flowering plants are pollinated by bees. And if bees get extincted and they stop pollinating these flowers, a lot of staple food will go down. And it can have threats, existential threats for not, in a very robust manner, but definitely it will have implications for human beings. So this is about bee. Then you can, if you want to learn more, if you are excited about, what mathematically bees are doing, and you cannot, underestimate their powers. They can be the engineers. You can read this article. They are the most efficient builders of the world, and that's why the Quran mentions home. Make your home in a very uh, different aspect here, or rather in a very unique aspect. It mentions home particularly because home design of the bees is carved in a very regular hexagon, and it is very, very intricately carved. The fact is that 2000 years of effort and 19 pages of advanced mathematics it will require to make a familiar structure with that precision. So don't underestimate the powers of bees. They can be engineers, in fact sometimes better than human beings. Now, more about biology, if you are excited about these things, you can read the verses from Surah Al-Zumar, that how it speaks about the embryology. I won't dwell on these things. And what these verses did, that they inspired Muslim scientists to write on biology for or medicine. For instance, there was Ibn Sina, who wrote a book named Canon of Medicine, Kitab al-Shifa, Book of Healing, and that became the syllabus of several Western universities. Because these people were inspired from these verses. In fact, Jahiz, who was a very famous or devout Muslim. He was a polymath. He wrote on animals. He has written Kitabul Haywan, the book on animals. Allama Dimiri has written Hayatul Haywan. These are some pictures of from Jahiz's fascination with animals. These people, when they got inspired from Quranic verses, they started studying it as a creation of Allah. And these are the fascinations of Jahiz. It is a sort of duck-like creature, swan-like creature. Then there is a sort of crocodile having its food, and then there is a sort of giraffe. So this is his fascination with animals. Now, why STEM and SEERAH? We have three things in purpose already, as mentioned. That first of all, we want to make intellectually empowered Muslims who are grounded in the belief, because modern age is the age of in ideological turmoil, the seamless channeling of information from all across the world coming to the Muslim world, with each wave having several confusions with it, whether it's about biology, whether it's about physics or philosophy, that are turning people away from their faith. Here we are in the STEM and SEERAH. We want to make people intellectually empowered Muslims by basing their worldview in a proper premise of existence of Allah. So there is this quote from Richard Dawkins. He says that Darwin made it possible to be an intellectually fulfilled atheist, because he is quoting here Darwin, because Darwin's worldview is considered now to be virtually atheistic worldview. So in response to that, you have to have something very ideologically grounded that will prevent our students from confusion and faith loss. We have to be intellectually grounded to understand this problem. As long as we cannot tell our students, right, that you have to believe, and you have to believe. That's not it. We have to give them reasons, logic, rationality to explain why they should believe what they believe. What is the reason? What is the persuasion for them to believe that? What are the evidences? And Quran is full of evidences. It's all about how we study and how we try to explore. So the first thing is that we are trying to make intellectually empowered Muslims, and second is that we have modern methods of learning. It's no longer about just going on speaking and not having that dialogue. My classes will all be about dialogue, and nothing will be there that will be based on the old monologue or that archaic method which has no relevance in today's age. So we will try our best here to make our learning methods very modern. We will have different use of animations. We will have critical thinking, problem solving, innovative based application learning. We will try our best to do that, and then we will make our students also competition ready. Because if you are wanting to enter research, or if you want to enter medicine even, biology is a very important area where you can where it can help you to excel in these career choices. So जैसे कि बायोटेक्नोलॉजी पे रिसर्च होता है या मेडिकल एंट्रेंसेस वगैरह, उसके लिए एक स्ट्रांग फाउंडेशन, पर्टिकुलरली जो बड़े अडल्ट्स होंगे उनके लिए भी रिसर्च या दूसरे जो आस्पेक्ट सब्जेक्ट्स के हैं, दैट विल हेल्प देम. एंड hopefully we'll try our best that this will be delivered in a very lucid, structured and organized manner. And one more thing is that there is a particular edge for those people who will join us. I have my department has designed the textbooks for class 11 and 12 biology, and I have had a chance to learn from some of the leading professors who have designed those textbooks, and it will help those students who want to join with us in terms of excelling the medical entrance examinations. So that's an additional thing. And particularly when we talk about adults, there is one more thing, that is the philosophy of science plus philosophy of biology. That will be an extra thing that we will give to our adults, inshallah. So this is essentially what we will go through. And then we have this simple thing that you will learn from zero up to advanced levels, inshallah. Very, very basic, very basic for those age groups which are, from 9. It will be right from zero, so that they will be acquainted with the terminology and the basics of the biological world, and then those will take it on, and then finally we will take it on to integrated and research levels, inshallah. And then that's it from me. So in short, it's based on a premise, a worldview of existence of Allah. The rest of the things will be cleared. What the course details will be about, or other things, will be cleared by Brother Gavit. If you have any questions, you can ask.
I just wanted to add one thing.
Yeah.
Jazakallah khair for your presentation. I don't think बहुत ज़्यादा questions बचे हैं. तो मैं बस एक comment add करना चाहता था कि रिचर्ड डॉकिंस ने जो बात कही कि Darwin made it possible for him to be intellectually satisfied as an atheist. I mean, he actually didn't, obviously, because Darwin तो खुद भी atheist नहीं था. तो the funny thing is he is being intellectually dishonest while saying that. So, anyways, just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Darwin basically he used to go to church in the beginning. Then when his daughter, he loved her a lot, she passed away. He became a bit hesitant. He entered into agnostic state. But yeah, there is no evidence to say that he became an atheist.
जी.
Yeah. So if anyone has any questions or any doubts or anything, you're most welcome.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
सर जब AI ओरिएंटेशन सेशन हुआ था उस टाइम पे आपने ये कहा था कि जो हार्मोन्स और एंजाइम्स वी कैन से आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द phenotype of a person, or we can say for a particular function or emotions. So the need for the soul, the concept of the soul, मतलब जो आपने उस वक्त कोई वो ऑब्जर्वेशनल डेटा कहा था कि जब हम ऑक्सीटोसिन रिमूव करते हैं किसी माइस से तो फिर वो डिटैच होता है अपने मदर माइस से, तो वो कुछ में कॉन्सेप्ट उसमें जो था सोल का, आप प्लीज एक्सप्लेन कर सकते
Yeah, sure. See, basically there are, can you tell me your age? Sorry,
हैं?
if you don't mind.
सर
In which class?
19.
Okay. ठीक है. I will come to that level. That's why I asked you.
Okay, sir.
So
Okay.
see, the point is that essentially everything is controlled by genes. Everything about us. And this is quite provable when we do it in lab. For instance, if you know about a particular disease जहाँ पे किसी जीन की म्यूटेशन होती है, म्यूटेशन मीन्स चेंज, उसमें क्या होता है कि एक पर्टिकुलर जीन की चेंज है तो इफेक्ट सामने आ गया, सिंपल बात है. That means there is directly observable change in the phenotype. Phenotype means external appearance. Because of the change in gene. उसकी वजह से क्या होता है कि जब जीन चेंज हुआ तो phenotype चेंज हुआ, सिंपल सी बात है. इसी तरह से चाहे हम हार्मोन्स के इफेक्ट स्टडी करें, अगर हम हार्मोन्स यूज करते हैं डिफरेंट एक्सपेरिमेंट्स में तो उनके रिजल्ट स्ट्रेट अवे सामने आते हैं. फॉर इंस्टेंस जैसे कि हमने एक्सपेरिमेंट किया था, वी हैड tried to block the oxytocin pathways in mice. जब हम उनमें oxytocin pathways block करते हैं तो एक्चुअली क्या होता है कि mother becomes detachable from the mice pups, because oxytocin ही वो इफेक्ट करता है जिसकी वजह से उसका एक अटैचमेंट रिस्पॉन्स होता है बच्चों के साथ. नाउ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ सोल के बारे में मैंने क्या कहा था कि सोल इज not explainable in terms of biochemistry. We have to go beyond biochemistry to explain the concept of soul, because there are so many things that are not explainable by the observable science. So many things are not explainable. तो वहां पे क्या पॉइंट है कि जो हमारा एरिया ऑफ साइंस है और एरिया ऑफ रिलीजन या फिलॉसफी है वो अलग अलग हो जाते हैं. And there you come to discuss about soul. So whenever we try to explain some divine metaphysical concepts based on the biological or biochemistry, उसकी वजह से हमारा नुकसान है, because essentially it will get reduced to chemicals and hormones. So this is how I can put it to you. I hope that you have got my point. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay. 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 If there is any other question. I think there are no more questions, then we'll finish the meeting. बाकी details वगैरह जो भी होंगी, Gabit will be with you for those details. And if you have any other questions that you can ask in general group, you are most welcome. So I think we should right now stop here. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for being here. We hope that we will go and continue these sessions again in the upcoming classes. So thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.